believe so. Yes. Now we are doing it. Okay. So thank you, Carol. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Elizabeth Ndunda. I'm a fourth year PhD student. I'm studying a PhD in international development. I have a master's in sociology, and I'm very excited to hear Sam has almost a very similar master's to what I did. Because I'm wondering if we went to the same university for the master's, because we might have. That master's has the same title as mine, so I'm kind of excited to do that. I have been in Germany for about 4 years now. I love learning and I love gathering information, and I always feel people don't have the information, so they don't know the opportunities are there. I have a challenge because we have a lot of scholarships, but we don't do the applications. So today I decided to share a small part of what you can do and what you can and how you can get funding to come and study here in Germany, and of course whether it is worth it. You might get the funding, but it's not worth it. So I will share all this information, and please keep your questions, and then I can answer. Unfortunately, because the information is a lot, some of the questions you do have to ask me. Otherwise, I cannot provide all the information that is there. Okay. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Elizabeth. Why Germany? That is always one of the questions. Why not Canada? Why not Australia? Why to this tiny, small country with a strange language? And now, why exactly to ZEF?
Okay, I have all this information. Unfortunately, Carol, you are dealing with a PhD student who loves slides and PowerPoints.
Should I give you a cohort, right? You would like
yes.
Perfect.
Slides
perfect.
And PowerPoint.
That is fantastic.
Yes.
Let me make you a co-host. Yes. Now you have, fantastic. That's actually the best tool. Share something. James is laughing.
There you go.
Yes, we are doing
I always find that if you don't do a small summary, you always miss out on something that you wanted to say. Then remember it like 10 days later and you
Fantastic. This is the best approach. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so today I am going to be giving you a small talk on opportunities for masters and PhD for the Center of Development. Center for Development. It's called the Centrum for Entwicklungsforschung. So I will start by introducing a few things about myself, how I came to know about this. Surprisingly, I am not sponsored by the ZEF program. I am not. I am a DAAD scholar. DAAD is quite slightly different. So I do have information on DAAD, but today I'm talking about ZEF. ZEF, I only know because I have worked there for 4 years. So I know all the tricks that come with, not all, 80% of the tricks that come with ZEF. Okay. So let me remember how to do this. Yes, there we are. So the first step, you need to decide whether you want to do a master's or a PhD. Advancing in academia is not easy at all. I'm sure those who have done masters can tell the bachelor's guys, oh my God, sometimes it's such a journey. Those who are doing a PhD can sometimes, like me, wake up and wonder, like, seriously, who came up with this idea? Why did I come to this project? So you need to first make a decision. Is it worth it? Is it worth pursuing a master's or a PhD? What are the advantages that you get when you do a master's or a PhD? I will show you some of the advantages for my own personal beliefs that I have, or why I convince myself. But first, you need to decide, because master's and PhD, unlike bachelor's, is an independent journey. It's a journey of your own. So if you are not motivated enough, you will die along the journey. I mean, like motivational death, not like physical death. You will die. And it's not funny to do something that you're not interested in for 2 years. So first you need to decide, before you even start deciding which subjects you want to pick for your PhD or for your master's, you need to first decide, do I really want to advance this as a career? I'm actually excited to see all of you here because I'm imagining you have thought long and hard about this and decided, yes, I do want to do this. Okay, so first, my journey. I am a fourth-year PhD student. I am a DAAD scholar. And I have done my PhD. I did my master's in Kenya. So that was, my master's started in Kenya. I applied for my PhD in Kenya. Surprise, surprise. Yes, I did apply for my PhD in my original master's university. Surprisingly, I did not get admission. Why? We all know the Kenyan postgraduate system, the way it goes. So apparently after submitting my certificates to the postgraduate school, they proclaimed that my certificates were fake, not sufficient. From the same university, I did not go to another university. I finished, submitted to the same university. They proclaimed my certificates fake, cooked up, and several other not very nice terms. At the time I was teaching in that university, surprise, surprise again. And it took me almost a year before they got back to me. No, we cannot admit you for a PhD for this and these reasons. In my anger, it was anger that drove me to look for an opportunity. And in my anger, I landed in DAAD. It was a very long process that took almost a year and a half, tracing a professor, finding several opportunities, and finally landing into DAAD. When I got my admission letter from the DAAD, my university spoke to me, my Kenyan university, came back and said, oh, there was an error. Welcome back. You can start your PhD. I was like, yeah, no, I'm gone. That is how my journey began. So some of the lessons I have learned, there are so many opportunities for funding, especially in developed nations. Africa is currently the hotbed of research. If you don't know, we are like the knowledge givers right now. And because we have had a bit of issues with decolonialism, people who colonized us and came back again to do research with us, but did not acknowledge that the knowledge was coming from Africa, a lot of funding is being given now to African students to return the knowledge back home. So it's a very ripe time for you to consider research. If you're considering a PhD or a master's, it's a very slow marathon. It is not Kipchoge. It is not going to work like that. It is very, very slow and very tedious. And as you progress, of course, you will earn more, you will get more opportunities career-wise, but please remember, it is quite a slow marathon. So motivate yourself a lot. And there are situations where, especially in Germany, that title of doctor becomes a stumbling block, unfortunately for you. There are companies that you are qualified to be employed in, but the moment they hear that title of a doctor, nah, they're out. For the masters, guys, since the title doesn't change, it's quite exciting. Actually, for you, I would advise you, please come aboard. Welcome. However, for you, the journey for the between your registration for masters and the end of masters will not be very good for you financially. Okay. Germany's excellence in academic training translates to pressure. The universities are top-notch. And for them to be top-notch, they produce top-notch students. And for them to produce top-notch students, they pressure the professors to produce top-notch students. So who is given all this pressure? You, who decided to come from Africa to study in Germany. Yay, you, welcome aboard. So you will at many times have to prove that you are worthy of this degree. And not just worthy of the degree, worthy of the grade. Unlike Kenyan universities, PhDs are graded here. Masters are graded. And the grade is not written on your transcript. It is written on your certificate. It is actually written there, what you got. And the grade progresses as you do the 4 years. It's not a final grade. They grade you every year. So because of that, you will have to continuously prove yourself. There is a very bad notion that African students are given funds mainly because they're African students. So you have to disprove that notion severally, which means you have to be excellent at what you're doing. The PhD journey is independent. Your supervisors are not going to be there to help you, tell you literature review, include this, include that, do not include this, do not. The guy reads, my professor has read my work, I think from last year, October, he has not read my work. I'm not exactly sure whether we are progressing or not, but he has not read the work. So you can imagine that's an independent, completely independent journey. Okay, I'll give you some advice on how to do that. So why do the masters? And especially why do it in Germany? That's the question Carol asked me. Why do it in Germany? Germany has a strange language. It has very high cost of living. It has very demanding professors. So why? Why do it? Because you'll get an excellent degree. You will get a very top-notch degree, one that will hold up internationally. 2, you will get funding. In Germany, if you are researchable enough, you will get funding. It's also a very easy way to just enter the European market. Since your certificates are not exactly recognized in the European market, this is a very easy way to do that. But again, there's a challenge that comes with that. And of course, there's the opportunity to be called doctor, which is probably why I joined. But this is not a very good motivating factor. Please do not join just because you want to be called a doctor. It's not going to work. Try a diploma. Okay. So I want to teach you about the ZEF Institute and then go back to the PhD journey after we have learned a bit about the ZEF Institute. There are various funding opportunities. One of them is ZEF. There is another one that's known as Future Rural Africa. Please remind me to give you a small summary about that because that one specifically targets Kenyan students. So Future Rural Africa, there is DAAD. DAAD, of course, is quite regional. We have the DAAD Kenya, we have the DAAD all over. And there is EPOS and other opportunities. But today I want to talk to you about ZEF. Why do I want to talk to you about ZEF? ZEF provides more than 30 PhD and master's funding opportunities. But in these 30, we only see like 2 or 3 Kenyans. In these 30, they are never full. The class is always 18, 19, which means there's like 10 other opportunities that nobody took advantage of. So today I want to teach you a bit about ZEF and give you a bit of tips on how to get ZEF funding or how to make yourself more, I don't know, the word is gone. Kujiinua kidogo ndio upate uonekane kuliko watu wengine. Si ndio? So ZEF is a research institute affiliated with the University of Bonn. The University of Bonn is lovely. I love being part of UniBonn. It is a lovely, lovely international university. This research institute, what happens here is when the research institute becomes an affiliate of the university, they're given rights. And these rights allow them to train masters, to train PhD students in their own courses. You never step into the university, but on the final day, you will graduate with a certificate from the University of Bonn. But the institute is responsible for training you. So you're not like a normal UniBonn student. You're not going to UniBonn classes unless ZEF sends you there. You're not going to, what else? You're not doing term papers like UniBonn students. Your term papers are probably marked within the ZEF Institute. I'll probably land a few on my desk as I'm trying to finish my work. So all that you work within, you have an office, you have a space within ZEF, and at the final day for your defense, you will do it at the ZEF Institute with the ZEF Advisory Board. And finally, the ZEF will grant the final grade, which will then be approved by the rector, and then you'll be given your certificate from the University of Bonn. Yes, so that's a ZEF Institute. It's focused mainly on development-centered projects. That does not mean you do social science only. It has 3 departments. It has economics and technology. It has natural sciences. Natural sciences ni watu epidemiology. Nimesikia kuna mtu epidemiology. Natural sciences are there. And then there's us guys, the humanities. Okay, so we have 3 departments. So as long as your project advises on a development, it can land inside ZEF. Okay, sorry, I have to minimize this. And then it supports both masters and PhD researchers through affiliate projects. ZEF has so many projects. I would advise you to just go on the website. I cannot list all the projects that ZEF has. Okay, so why study here in ZEF? Why ZEF? Why is ZEF such a unique opportunity for funding? First, it has several opportunities for you to gain funding. I'm sorry, somebody's talking. Okay, thank you. We have several opportunities to gain funding. There is an easy application process. Unlike the DAAD, if anybody has gone through the DAAD website, you know it can be a bit complicated. By the way, we can always help you through that. It has the easiest accreditation. If you ask Carol, one of the challenges that we have when we join German universities is to have our certificates recognized by German institutes that we are actually qualified to do the projects that we are doing. So most of the time, the university will request, even as a PhD student, do extra courses, do several units to meet our requirement for your PhD, do several units to meet our requirement for your master's. But for now, ZEF does not do that. ZEF does the accreditation by itself. So you don't need to go through that. That was one of the things that is very unique about ZEF. Then it has opportunities to interact with a diverse number of colleagues, including as an exchange student. I have gone to Japan as an exchange student. I've gone to Namibia. I've gone to several countries where you just get an opportunity and your professor does, there's an email and students are required to go to learn about, I don't know, watershed management, and you go. One of my chapters that I've done actually with Kyoto University through this. And of course, it's a very highly acclaimed PhD degree or master's degree. ZEF has a very clear-cut procedure to graduation, step by step. So you're not confused. Step by step, it has your defense is it's a thing to behold. It's not one of those things we experience in our universities. It's a thing to behold, minus the gown. The gown is not funny, it's not nice. Then a lot of support from senior scientists. Senior scientists are the scientists. We have the PhDs, okay, we have the masters, we have the PhDs, then we have the doctors. These are the senior scientists. Then we have the professors at the top. So these senior scientists, there are several of them in ZEF, and they are always working with the PhD students. That's their job. Or the PhD students are working with the master students, okay? You have an opportunity to meet many Kenyan colleagues. Who doesn't want that? And of course, you have an excellent social network. One of the things that's very scary about Germany is opportunities to make friends, opportunities to have a social life. You can be very lonely, but ZEF works a lot to ensure that you have an excellent social network. So what are your funding opportunities in ZEF? So I will speak about the first part, which is the ZEF development. But there is individual project funding. These are funds that are given to professors or to senior scientists through in a project, which allows them to hire a PhD worker. Why are these ones advantageous? Because your stipendium can be quite high. The money that you're being paid monthly can be much higher than what is paid through other normal means. So that's, before you start looking at other things, look at ZEF projects and look at professors who are requesting for funding. But the difference is they are very specific on what they want you to research, and you cannot provide a proposal that is not within that. It has to be specifically within that topic, okay? Then there's university funding. Bonn has a lot of funds that they give to students to study. And I don't know, Agnes, something funding that's for women in STEM. There's women in gender and something, they go to UK and something. There's a lot of funding. the challenge with university funding is very limited. So the amount of money you'll get is very, very low. And also it has a lot of bureaucratic procedures. You need to have already registered at Bonn. You need to have already started your master's or your PhD before applying for the funding. It has a bit of steps here and there. My advice would be to apply this towards the end of your funding. If the funding has ended and you still have a period of time before you submit your thesis, then you can apply for university funding. That one now would advise you that. Then there's EPOS and DAAD. Those are things that you will learn later on. Then there's now what I want to talk about, which is the ZEF development funds. So it's given to students pursuing research directly related in one way or another to development. My research is on indigenous peace building in Turkana and Pokot. It's a very exciting research. So that is directly related to my country's development, okay? So one of the things you have to do is you have to structure your topic to look for, I lack the word developmentalish, okay? So structure it to look like that. It's preferably allocated to students coming from developing nations, which is where you get an advantage. Kenya is at a limelight right now. We are on a transitional basis. Nobody is sure, do we want to be Kenya's friends? Do we not want? So you are at an opportunity to take advantage of everybody's confusion and get this money and be funded for some sort of research, okay? Or you can also conduct research. You don't have to do, that's a mistake I see, you don't have to do the research in your country. Should you see a problem in another country, for example, what's this problem in South Africa? Criminal rates in South Africa are very high. Should you write a proposal for that? You will not be asked, and you don't come from South Africa, why are you writing about this? No, you saw an African problem and you want to provide a solution. So now you get to visit 2 different countries, so feel free. But there's the challenge of field work, so please remember that. Then the research needs to draw a direct relationship to development. PhD students receive a monthly stipendium of between 1,100 and 1,400 euro, depending on the, depending on the project that is funding you. The masters receive between 800 euro and 1,000 euro. This includes your insurance is paid, your health insurance is usually paid, so you don't have to pay it from this stipendium. What else do we need? What are the main other things that we pay for? Okay, health insurance, let's go with that, okay? And other governmental costs are paid, so you don't have to pay them, okay? Sorry, somebody played with my, so now I have drawn your interest, so where do you start? Carol started by telling you that our challenge as Kenyan students and as Kenyan workers is we don't want to do the research. Please, you need to research. That's how I've gathered all this information. You do research, you do a lot of research. Read that ZEF website. Read the projects that are within ZEF, mainly because we don't want your proposal to look similar to something that you can't come and say now because Elizabeth is doing indigenous peace building. Now you are going to, in Turkana and Pokot, now you are going to come and do economic projects and peace building in Istanbul. You're likely to miss out on that, okay? You're likely to miss out on the opportunity for funding. So do a lot of research. When you think you have become sure, do some more research, okay? Please do a lot of research. Talk to people, talk to your professors, your master's professors, do a lot of research. And unfortunately for ZEF, it's funding that's given internationally. German students apply for it, American students apply for it. So you really need to stand out. So do a lot of research. Now, do your research, get ready. A scholarship application is similar to a job. You need to tailor your application to suit this specific scholarship. So you cannot send the same application to every scholarship. Unfortunately, professors talk to each other. Very surprised. They talk to each other. American professors talk to Kenya. If they're in the same field, they'll talk to each other. Hii CV yako itaonekana. Na watu wakigundua you are doing that. Do you know plagiarism. You will land in a lot. They will just think this person is not serious. So try and tailor your application to suit specific research. Prepare a research resume. What is a research resume? A resume that highlights your experience in research. It doesn't have to be specific. I worked in this project for research. Even if you are a banker, I am experienced in interviewing, experienced in organizing data. Tailor your resume to suit a research, okay? Prepare a concise research concept, not a proposal. Research concept, okay? Research concept is maximum 10 pages, okay? A concise one, research problem, research methodology, paragraph, be very concise. These people don't have the time to read this whole 20 pages that you have researched and read, literature review. No. A concise one. Write a good motivational letter. Not the one, as I was walking to my grandmother's house, I was inspired by the trees. No, a good one, okay? And do all this before beginning the process of application. That way, you feel a bit more confident and a bit more ready to do your application. So for the ZEF project, do I need a supervisor? No, which is why I believe in this project a lot. You don't need a supervisor. The one challenge for DAAD has been removed. You don't need to find yourself a supervisor. ZEF will do that for you. Do I need a full research proposal? No. You need a concept. Do I need help? Not really. You can do this on your own, but you can also seek out a bit of help. Help never hurts, but don't panic if you don't find the help. Are there any fees I'm expected to pay? No, do not be scammed, okay? Now, tips from my personal basket, okay? One of the tips I will give you is professors have no time to read several of your, 30 pages of your proposal. 5, 10. If you can do it in 5 pages, perfect, okay? Maximum report 10. Now see 10 singular banner. 10, 1.5, okay? I know we love writing. In Kenya, we are trained to write. Please don't do that, okay? Research problem, abstract research problem, objectives, background, small background, not a whole background, methodology, expected results, how this project will affect development. Perfect for you. Write a good motivational letter. They are not likely to read your concept, but they will read the motivational letter very well. So write a good one. If you're not sure, give it to several of your friends. They read it for you, okay? Now, okay. A research motivational letter is your opportunity to be creative. Ni kama cover letter. So feel free to write as creative as you want, okay? Capture audience, okay? ZEF is obsessed with SDG goals. Remember the SDG goals, Millennium Development? ZEF is obsessed. I don't think I have seen a presentation by a professor that doesn't include SDG goal 1, SDG goal 77. They are all there. So fit your research in one of those, all 3 of those. Yeah? Mine fits into gender. Mine fits also into conflicts. Mine fits into food and hunger. Okay. Fit it inside there and highlight it in somewhere in your concept. And as SDG goal 11 states, like that, okay? Start early. Kenyans will like late. Start early. That way you get all your things together and you don't panic at the last minute. And of course, everybody is sending at the last minute. The thing is, they are reviewed as they come. So if yours came early, and it drew somebody's interest at the back, then it has greater opportunity to be funded than this one that's coming at the last minute when you only have 2 more positions to fill out, okay? At early. Deadlines for the projects. Project funding varies, depends on the project and when they get the funding. Deadline for ZEF development funds is between August and November. Mostly by October, you should have submitted your funding, okay? Always check for open project funding. It has more money. It has fewer applicants. So always go through the different projects and check out which professors are being funded at any time. And then you can apply to that, okay? So if you are a master's, if you are a PhD, you still need all this. For the master's, the concept should be 2 pages. PhD, you are allowed at least 10 pages because we expect that you know what you're doing. And nobody expects you to know exactly what you're doing. They just need to have an idea that you are knowledgeable. You have the skills, and with a bit of training, you can do it. Okay? So is it worth it? Yes. But that's a personal decision. Okay? Please remember that you do need to take your time to do this. You do need to take your time to do the PhD. You do need to take your time to invest in the PhD. I spend almost all my day in the office from 8 to sometimes 7, from 8 to sometimes even during the weekend. So you need to jikagua and determine for yourself whether it is worth it, especially for the master's students, because you do a lot within 1 year. You have done so much, and your grades are expected to be this way. So you need to be sure that this is something that you actually want. Okay, I am done. Thank you very much. Just stop sharing this.
Wow. I think she deserves a clap, right?
I have tried, right?
Let's do the digital clap for Dunda. That was really, really nice. Very structured, very well prepared. And I think, yeah, you really deserve a clap. Thank you so much for that. And yes, we've given you 10%. I also do my research. I go and look for these people because I don't like sharing information that I don't know. That is my role. So I go and look for these people. They come and give you 10% and you do the 90%. So this is the only way we can help you. And this is the only way we can help people to treasure the amount of money. So I will stop recording so that at least we can have an open space for the Q&A session.
Okay.
And ask their questions if that is fine.